Hello, everybody. Welcome to, well, my desktop. uh, this is Wolf, and I'm getting ready to log into EVE Online. As you can see, I had the loader started up. So, we're getting into that today. For those of you who haven't seen this particular stream yet, I've started streaming the Alpha Clone starting area for EVE Online. And the idea is that I really enjoy the game. It's a great way to kill off a couple hours of time when you don't really feel like doing much of anything very difficult or important. And it's really not difficult to get started in. You really just need a PC. And you don't even need an ultra high-end PC to play this game. The specs for this game, they're not over the top, and it makes for a relatively entertaining time in space. And if you're like me and you like science fiction stuff and you're a fan of space-based entertainment, then realistically this kind of stream, this kind of game might be up your alley. It's a little slow. When most of the time it's not exactly the most fast-paced piece of entertainment, but it's something that can be enjoyed if you don't mind learning a rather steep learning curve game. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump back into the Alpha Clone we started playing. Excuse me. And as you see here, he's been leveling up his skills the whole time. He's gained 7 new skills, and we're almost through Surgical Strike. So, we're still going. Once we're logged in here, we're going to take a look and see what all we can add.
Skill training completed.
Alright, we got Surgical Strike, got about an hour left on it, and then High Speed Maneuvering to finish it. I think we'll add Industry and Mass Production. With the idea being that the more I can build at a time, the more I can sell at a time. So we're going to add level 2 to the queue. And I'll add, let's see. We'll add this to the queue. All right, and that's just that starts to put us over. So that gives us, we'll call it a 6-hour window that I can actually add stuff into the queue. So like we can add this thermodynamics in here. Get it going. There it goes. All right. That is another 2-hour window. I don't think I have anything I can train for 2 hours. At least not yet. All these things with white dots in here, there is a possibility that I can train them by simply buying the books and injecting them. So things like this shield operation to improve my shield recharge time, I could add that. It only add a couple minutes to the queue. But right now, we're not going to focus on that. I've got the queue running, so that's what matters. Now, last night we left off with, if I remember correctly, a production quest. So we are going to finish that job. And now we can turn it in. And we just got ourselves a second Nereus. Alright, so let's go over here. So, our ship collection is starting to come along relatively nicely. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ships. 1, 2. Right, 6 ships. 1 I'm flying and 2 that are not assembled yet. Alright, so that finishes up the business career from last night. The next thing, this is probably the biggest reason why I still play this game. The exploration. The reason I enjoy exploration is because, you remember the hacking we were talking about last night? Well, exploration... excuse me, exploration combines that with a game that is kind of like hide and seek, but with really big, powerful sensors. What do I mean by that? Well, you're going to find out over the course of the next 5 missions. I might even have enough time to add a little bit more. So let's see here. Exploration. Save. There we go. Alright, now that accurately shows what we're actually doing here today. So at first, we're just going to follow the instructions here. That's going to take us to anomaly training sites. To start off, it's just going to show what different sites may look like. So let's go ahead and do this. And we can take any ship we want. So we're just gonna drive around in our Tristan today. All right. So the first thing we do is we actually need to go into our scanner. All right. Now to do that, there's 2 different ways to do that. There is either pressing here and then going into probe scanner, or as you saw that popped up, you press Alt P, which is obviously for probes. Now our instruction here is to go to one of the anomaly training sites. Okay, so if you look, you have the anomaly training sites that are here. The Serpentis Hideaway, that's an actual combat site. So we'll go there probably a little bit later just to show you guys what goes on. But first we're going to go to the anomaly training site. So what it's telling you is you found an anomaly site, so just get to the cargo container, grab the piece of paper, and head back. Yes, this is quite literally the first mission to tell you how to access the probe scanners. Even that doesn't do a really good job. So there we go, now we have it. So we go back. And then we turn in the quest. That's easy enough. Oh wait, apparently we've accepted a new mission? Oh crap! I clicked the wrong thing. I meant to turn in the exploration thing. I guess I can go ahead and run through the first advanced military mission once I remember what it is supposed to be doing. Clear the area of any hostile vessels. Okay, so basically go blow everything up. Okay, we can do that. So we are going to... We'll also... see what this next mission is here. Alright, they gave us a Novitas. They'll give us a Novitas for this particular message. We don't need to fly it, but the Novitas is typically used for assisting other missions, not so much flying for exploration. Alright, but first things first, we're going to go ahead and take care of this military encounter that I didn't have a chance to read, but basically we go and blow things up, and that's the mission. I think. Oh, whoa. Wrong one. Now, if you notice, the warp location says to dead space. Anything that's between the systems is considered dead space. And the idea is that there's nothing there at all. There's not supposed to be anything there. So the space is empty or dead. That's the general gist of that. I still think it's really cool that they actually changed the animation coloring for the jump gate. For the acceleration gate, I mean. Alrighty. Now, this will simply be a piece of cake. Get in here. And we'll go boom, boom, and let me hear you say, yo. That was terrible. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, y'all, for I have sinned with terrible, terrible music parody. Blat, blat. Whoa. Let's see what we got coming at us. Well, I guess they decided they wanted to send more after us. Well, that's okay. More the merrier. All right. Now, if you just happen to join in, I accidentally accepted the wrong mission, and I didn't want to risk losing the excess funds, so I'm just running this one real quick. This is one of the advanced military missions. Oh, the ship can run a few drones. Cool. I should have known that, but I don't run Tristans very often, mostly because they're relatively low-end ships. I mean, they're really good for what they can do, but they're not what I would typically fly. Salvaging takes for a while. It takes a while sometimes, and it's all random number based as to whether or not you actually get it. But the higher your skill, the better chance are. So basically, think of it as roll higher than a X value and win. Now, on my main account, I tend to run a lot of salvage drones to save me some time, because each salvage drone gets its own count towards salvaging. And so that means if I'm running 5 salvage drones, then I get 5 immediate chances to pop whatever it is I'm trying to salvage. Come on. There we go. Now that this is all done, we're going to go ahead and warp over to what we're trying to do, which would be the cosmic signatures, or exploration. Oh, okay. I was a little nervous there for a second. Alright, so this is telling us to get to the acceleration gate and trigger. So we're going to do that. Basically, think of acceleration gates as gigantic slingshots that they use to warp you through space. Alright, in this case, they're actually going to give us the core probe launcher, so that way we get an idea of what we're doing, which is good. Alright, root all. Let's see. Am I supposed to... I don't think there's a refitting station here. Let's look around. So the supplies are here. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to equip them now or if I'm supposed to equip them later. But if we're supposed to do it later, just come back after I've equipped them. For now, we'll just follow the gates through. I think I'm supposed to equip them once I land. Alright. Now these are different things that you might see in a data site. Alright. So if we were running a regular data site, we'd actually have to lock onto one of these and use our data cracker that you may remember from us using during the business one. And then go to the next warp gate, or acceleration gate. And this is what the relics will look like. Now, relics are quite literally just stuff from the past. So sometimes they're defunct parts, sometimes they are old rock formations that could be considered art if you're one of those kind of people. You'll see these and a lot more. So it's all stuff to... This is just basically giving you an idea of what to expect when you see it, or when you go for it. And all of these things you can find with the core probe launcher that we'll be equipping here in just a short moment. Now this is a gas site. This, believe it or not, you can actually mine this stuff using a gas harvester on a mining vessel, typically a Venture. You can go ahead and suck up the gas to sell or make stuff with.
Warp drive active.
And we're going to close this so I really don't feel like listening to it.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Alright. We're going to complete that mission. Now we're going to complete that mission. Now, here's what we're going to do. We have stuff in the cargo hold. And we're going to offload this into the item. Now that we're here, since we have a Navitus, we're going to assemble that Navitus. Make it active. And alright. Now the reason we're going to use a Navitus is so that way we're not disassembling the other ships we have. I can very easily just do this on a Velotor, or modify my Tristan to do the job, or heck, even make the Venture work. But I know what we're up against in this particular mission, so we're going to simply build this ship only for doing these exploration missions. This is not an exploration vessel, okay, but it will work. There we go. it will work for our current purposes. Now, we need the Crawler Probe Launcher, we need analyzers, wouldn't hurt to put on the overdrive, and there we go. Now this would be the ultimate in bare bones exploration. Just not in an exploration ship. And you can actually recolor your ships. I don't think I had a chance to tell anybody about this one. But the ships do have the option of various skins. You typically have to buy them, or you can get awarded them in the case of the Exoplanet Hunters. And CCP is regularly coming up with new skins for their vessels. So I don't actually own this one because I rarely fly the Navitus, so I figured it's kind of pointless to have something for the Navitus. Anyway, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So here we are. No guns. You know what? I got room for guns, so I'm going to put on some kind of emergency protection. Not that I'm anticipating needing it. Okay. So I don't think I accepted the mission. So let's make sure we are definitely taking the exploration one. So it's telling us to go to the data site. And it's telling us to scan. Now, the only downside is that it does a really poor job of explaining how to use the scanning probes. It's not impossible to figure out, but a little bit of direction would have helped. All right, so here we are. We're now back in space. I'm just gonna get our flight on. Now, you would think you just go into the scanning probes. Well, you didn't launch any scanning probes yet. So we gotta do that. So make sure to launch some scanning probes. Now, if you had a decent supply, it would automatically reload your probe launcher. But since we've only got 8, we've only got 8. Now that we have the probes out, though, we go into our scanner. And this is what we have. As you see, there is absolutely no instruction. So what we're doing here is we're actually going to try to get our information about one of these X's. So what you'll do is you can adjust how wide your scanning is by using this over here, or if you just want to do a quick search of the entire area, you can change the formation by clicking the spread formation and click analyze. Those little probes we just shot out, they'll now warp out and it'll scan the area for any special things we might not have seen. I think this is more related to earlier on, and it's not as needed anymore. As you see, based off of the information that the probes found, things got added. So there's a gas site, a data site. Let's see. Well, none of the relic sites showed up, so that's fine. You can zoom in using your scroll wheel and pick one of the ones you want to work on. And this one, it's a gas site. And what you do is, remember, you are working in 3-dimensional space. So you gotta find it using 3 dimensions. So we switch to our pinpoint formation and move the square on top of the X. The biggest thing to remember while doing this is to make sure that any circle around the X, where'd it go? any circle around the X is completely filled in with the circles for your probes. Those blue circles represent the strength of your the range of your probes. Now you can either drag and change your angle, or you can use these buttons here to make sure it gives you a 90-degree rotation on the display. Once you're centered up, click Analyze. The probes will relocate to where you have them, and scan again. Now, as you see, we got that one right away. And here's a data site. So we're going to do the same thing again. You click on the site to center it up. Move the box over. Adjust your camera. And center up that box again. Now, if these were not just plain training sites meant to be found like that, we'd be adjusting the probe size as well. We don't need to do that in this instance because it's meant to be found at 4 AU, which is astronomical units. All right, now what this is telling us is that our initial scan came up with 2 possible locations. So the easiest way to do this is to pick one, center up your probes, and bring in your sensor scan so that way one of the squares is no longer in the sensor area. By doing this, you preclude the possibility that your target is in one or the other. As you see, it failed. Well, it can't possibly be in both, so now it's got to be in here. So, again, reposition. And analyze. And that came up the whole way that time. So that tells us that we know that that is, in fact, our data set. Now, one of the things I didn't learn until later, which would have helped a lot, is that each of these scans, they are my personal information. They don't get shared with anybody else like I thought they did. So, don't worry about other people using your scans to track you down. Now, the other thing to think about while you're doing this here is, especially if you're in a more combat rated area, is that there are scanner probes that not just search for these anomalies, but also search for ships, loot, drones, everything else, and they're called combat scanners. The reason I bring this up is because if someone's out and they use the directional scan, which again is the V key, or clicking or going into here for directional scan, okay, those probes will show up on the scan. So people will be able to tell if you're out hunting for them by simply doing a directional scan. I forgot to double check the centering. That's okay, it wasn't wide enough anyway. It might pick it up if it's in this range. If it's not, then I'll have to redo the scan. Alright, looks like it picked up a little bit of something. So we're gonna adjust. And now I'm gonna do another 8 AU scan. To clear up the clutter a little bit, I'm going to close out the directional scan. Alright, and we got this whole split thing again. And that's got to do with the fact that the scans are not perfectly on top of each other and all that fun stuff. Now, why is this one of my most favorite things to do? Well, on top of the data sites and the gas sites, and I'm not so sure about ICE, and the relic stuff, and all the neat little things you get from doing these things, you're going to find wormholes. And those wormholes will take you into quite possibly the most dangerous space in the game. Not counting, oh crap, I forget what it's called off the top of my head. But basically there's it's a like broken space that you can get to using special shards. And once you're in there, the stuff you'll find is awesome. People have gone through wormhole space and come out with a ton of ISK. This is being a little difficult, so we're gonna have to grind this one down. If you can't scan it out, even if you get it down as tight as you can, don't sweat it. You're only starting out if you're on an alpha clone, and you might not yet have the skills to scan it down. This one might require I have a much higher skill set in order to fully scan it. And it's starting to get a little bit better, but I have a feeling this is going to be a tier 3 scan down, and I'm not going to be able to get it because it'll be too strong a requirement. And it's tier 3 or tier 4. Oh yeah, it's a 4. That's why I can't scan it down, because that's a relatively high-end site. So we're gonna give up on that site because we are not going to be able to scan that down on a brand new setup with no bonuses at all. And we're going to focus on this one. And we'll bring that in just a touch. Looks good. Whoa. I did not expect that. Now, another thing you'll find occasionally is these ore sites. And they're usually used to house higher end ore. Than what the system would typically show you. Basically, when you're in wormhole space, you're not going to find any asteroid belts. You'll find ore sites. This is probably going to be another one I'm not going to be able to scan down. And again, that's perfectly A-okay. Now, if I was flying, say, my Helios, then I'd be a little irritated about it. Oh, wait. This is a combat site. And there we go. We just scanned down a combat site. Now, each one of these combat sites and these various data and relic sites, they all have different difficulties. The harder it is to scan, usually the higher the difficulty. Sometimes that means you're going to find enemy vessels there, so you'll want to go with a ship that's got some defensive and offensive capabilities. Sometimes it's just harder things to hack. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know the stuff entirely offhand, so I'm not going to pretend to be able to give you that information. I am, however, going to go to this data site.
Warp drive active.
The reason we're going to go to the data site is so that way we don't run out of time and make sure we get our bonus. Oh, it does have they added a little drone bay to the back of it. Okay, I like that one a little bit. All right. Now that we're here, we need to get to the container, lock on, and since this is a data site, make sure to use our civilian data analyzer. As you progress further on, you'll want to get better ones, because this is like bottom of the barrel. Now this hacking site, there's the core. Now I actually did this on purpose. I wanted you to see how I was able to get to the core, but then I went ahead and I found this firewall. If you run into one of these, it'll block everything directly in contact with it, so you won't be able to click on that. So if I wanted to do the core, I now have to destroy this firewall, and then I can do the core. Completing the hack unlocks it, and then you can open it and get what's inside. Now that we've got that done, we just dock up and continue on.
Warp drive.
Give me just a second. I got my dryer stopped, so I got to take care of that. Alrighty.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Sounds like they also updated the mechanical sound effects. So we got the thing, turn it in, get the extra money. Now for mission 4. This is basically the same idea, but now instead of looking for data, we're looking for relics. Alright, so we're going to close this. We don't need this. Now, if you notice the screen, that particular NPC keeps coming up as a Sisters of Eve. There is a storyline in the game that actually allows you to work with those people. They are basically explorers, from my understanding. I've never actually tried it before. So, that'll be something to do in the future. All right. As you see, there's actually a couple in this area, so we're going to bump it up a little bit to make sure we hammer them all. As you can see, the directional scanner still shows the probes. So remember to keep that in mind. If someone's hunting, they'll have probes out. And that is a relic site. Perfect. 2 of them. We get our choice of relic sites. No, no, no. Relic. There we go. Now, as your skills progress, eventually you'll be able to skip certain scanning levels. But when you're first starting out, it's relatively helpful to make sure you have them all ready to go. Oh, I'm curious what's over here. Come on. No, there's that. Flip it up. And this may seem like such a silly thing to get excited over, but I have found some really neat things doing these. It's a lot of fun for me. I got data and gas and relics. So let's see if we can't get them all in the next rotation. Now, if we're lucky, might get all 4 of those in a single blap. Blap! All 4 of them. Look at that. That was awesome. Now, we have our choice of which relic site to visit. So we are going to go to this one because it's the closest.
Warp drive active.
You know, I am still very much a fan of the more bubble-shaped design of the Navitus. But what they have here is not terrible. It really isn't. All right. Now, here's one of the things to remember when you're using the analyzers. If you don't turn off their auto repeat, they'll keep pinging and pinging and pinging and using your power, using your energy when you don't need to. Yes, I know. So, you need to keep your ship within a certain distance. In this case, it's 5,000 meters. And you'll begin to recognize this screen. 2, 1, oh! There it is. Easy peasy. And back to dock.
Warp drive active. permission requested. Docking request accepted.
And we'll turn this one in. And then there's one more mission to go. Now this, when we finish it, they'll give us an Imicus. Scan down a gas cloud, artificial pocket. Now, we've already scanned down all the gas clouds. So realistically, this is going to be, we're going to warp out. Undock. We're going to warp to the gas cloud, get the thing, and then warp back. Yeah, sorry. Alright, there's one.
Warp drive active.
Now, you may notice that the sphere seems to change with the direction that the camera is pointing. And that's on purpose, because that's related to the whole wait, what? Didn't I? Am I missing something? Huh. Odd. Oh, don't tell me I forgot to put it in my hanger. I bet you that's what I did. I forgot to put it in my ship, my cargo hold.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Yeah. Let's try it again.
Warp drive active.
Almost forgot about that.
Warp drive active.
I'm kind of hoping I got to it before it turned into alcohol. Alright. Now this is supposed to be the artificial gas cloud. Now, there's a little bit of gas here. but it's not enough. Let's see, harvestable cloud. Where are we looking at here? Okay, there it is. Now, this particular cloud you can realistically fly through. Not all clouds you can fly through. Without taking some kind of damage. So we're going to fly through this one real quick. And then we're going to actually get the thing and get out of here. And now we dock.
Warp drive active.
Now this may be it for the introduction, but this is not it for the learning of what you can do with exploration. Like I said, you have the wormholes, and wormholes, in my opinion, are really interesting because you lose all of this over here. You lose all of this
Docking permission requested.
unless you're within scanning range of something. If you can't specifically see it on your screen, there's a likelihood you're not going to see it there. And it adds for a whole new level of interesting gameplay, at least in my opinion. All right. Now that is the exploration quest line. Really short, but again, it doesn't quite show you everything you're going to run into. And you may have fun with it as much as I do. I have an absolute blast running those things. Alright, so we're going to switch to this ship. Wait a minute. Why am I trying to switch to the Navitus? I'm in the Navitus. Now we're in our extremely short range Tristan. And we're going to go ahead and run the military career as well. Depending on how fast this goes. I may even have enough time to do the advanced class as well. So here we go. Now, if we complete it, they're going to give us a 75mm Gatling railgun. Okay. Now, here's the thing about the ammunition they keep giving me. Because if you notice, I've been given... If you notice during the business one, they gave me iron, if I remember correctly. Iron is the middle of the road ammunition. It does middle of the road damage. It has middle of the road range. In fact, I think that's what I have in here now. Yeah, iron charges. The antimatter charges, on the other hand, they hit a lot harder, but they only go half as far.
Warp drive active.
So here we go. We're going to switch off the mining tab because we're not mining right now. We're just blowing up bad guys. what I thought. This one we got to get within 3,300. You can typically open fire right about 4K with this kind of range weapon. As you drift in, you'll pick up the difference. Alright, got some more ships just warped in. They're over there at that rock. That's okay. Let's go join them. Excuse me. Uh-oh, they have locked target upon me. Simple enough, eh? And this last one may actually benefit from some manual targeting, manual flight. Reason being is because there is a very real possibility that you will smack into these rocks by letting the autopilot do its job. And then you'll just find yourself bouncing all over the place until finally it just gives up. Lock target. There we go. Whoa, 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 where's it going? There we go. I wonder why I'm suddenly going so slow. Ah, it must be bouncing off the range of the off the outermost range of the rock. That's one of the fun things you'll come to discover. That the rocks will have additional ranges that you don't see. Now that we're outside of that range, it's bouncing us off the range of that rock again. Ah, boy. Excuse me. We'll just go around and come back and hit them. Now we should be clear of the rocks bumper zone, I guess you call it. And closing range. There we go. Oh, that was short-lived. Now, the reason it's important to know about the impact distances from the rocks is because if you're trying to go to warp and you bounce off of that, you're not going to warp anytime soon. In fact, sometimes you'll find yourself completely hung up. You'll have to turn off your warp drive and go entirely the opposite direction you're trying to go, and then pick a vector off of that,
Docking permission.
and hopefully get yourself a little bit of room to give yourself a running start for warp.
Docking request accepted.
So that's done. All right. This one is kidnap one of the miners. All right. Now in this case, completing the mission will get me an Atron, which the nice thing about the Atron is it's fast, it turns quickly. The downside is it's kind of thin-skinned. It's a little light on the armor and shielding, so you gotta play smart when flying one of those. I mean, you're gonna run into that general concept just in general while playing. I'll tell you that straight out. But realistically, you're going to have to learn the strengths and weaknesses of each ship that you're trying to fly and determine whether or not those strengths or weaknesses are something you want to deal with. In the case of an Atron, it is limited to railguns, but and you can't run any drones. And if you don't want to run drones, that's fine. But one of the things about Gallente is that their drones have higher damage. That's kind of one of the major selling points of Gallente. Gallente has really good short-range burst weaponry and strong drones. That's what Gallente is. Oh man, they are dropping wrecks. That means I completely missed out on all the wrecks previously. Oh well. So right now we're just going to wait for the other guy to get a little closer. While we're doing that, we'll go ahead and pull the wrecks, the salvage off the wrecks, because why not? We can do that. Whoops. stop shooting at that. I want to shoot at that. Now, as you progress through, you'll need to choose a few different options, like, do you want to focus on long range, or do you want to focus on getting in close and hitting hard in a close fight? And there's two different, there's a lot of different theories behind the best way to do that. If you are the kind of person who likes to get in close, a lot of people I know actually suggest using the blasters because they're ultimately like shotguns. They're short range, but they hit really hard in the range they're in. If you're more like me, I like to hang out further back. So most likely, if you play like I do, you'll want things with range, and you'll want drones and stuff like that. If you like watching explosions, you'll want to run a missile boat. If you like the idea behind flying an Uzi attached to a tin can, you'll grab a Minmatar ship and put their autocannons on it. Come on. There we go. Of course not. There's a lot of different ship options you have in this game. You'll find something you like. It's almost guaranteed. Sound like it finally clicked. Alright, with that, we dock.
Drive active.
My cat's right over here.
Docking permission requested.
She being
Docking
her
request
grumpy
accepted.
self. Mad at me because I'm not getting up or going directly to her, instead just reaching over from the chair. Alright, got a new Atron. Next mission. Sensitive documents. Alright. Now this time he's giving us the guns we need to assemble and fly the Atron at a medium range fighter. So we're going to change going to assemble the boat. There we go. And now she's ready to go.
Warp drive active.
Now the first thing you're going to notice here is this thing turns and goes to warp a lot faster. Alrighty. Now these guns have a range of about 8,000. Oh. We're going to make our way over to this guy while we blat that. Now the funny thing is that stuff over here is supposed to emulate trolls who will try to talk crap. The interesting thing is he stays the whole way clear out of range while I wipe out his buddies. Yep, such a great pilot.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Alrighty. And the next one, let's see. Illegal Stargate. So now we're going to check out an illegal Stargate to see what happens when you get near it.
Warp drive active.
Now, realistically, shooting a Stargate's not going to do anything. And now we're going to start getting shot, so let's get out of here.
Warp drive active.
Now, starting
Docking
in
permission
the
requested.
near future here, my plan
Docking
is
request
to actually break out one of my main pilots and show some more of what I've been doing. All right, thermal dissipation field. All right. So let's go ahead and add that thermal dissipation field. And we're going to drop the civilian unit in favor of a regular one.
There is already something in that location.
Fine. Now, the idea behind this is to understand that by specifically gearing your ship to defend yourself against what you're expecting, you're more likely to survive. In this case, Serpentis, one of the things they use is thermal. One of their most common damage payouts is thermal. So now with the thermal defense on, if he were to start shooting at me, it would take that much less damage. There it goes. So I know I'm hitting. There we go. And now we'll head back to dock.
Warp drive active.
So it's pretty cut and dry for the military stuff. You're going to shoot things, and you're going to shoot a lot of things. Although the advanced military missions actually have a little more spread about what's actually going on during them.
Docking
In
permission
fact, if memory serves, there's a mission where your entire objective is to not use warp and just fly
docking
around,
request accepted.
like in a specific pattern. Like it'll tell you to go here, and then go there, and then go there, and then go there, and that's basically the mission. All right, this one here. Managed to track them down. And we're gonna go ahead and gonna move on to there now. was gonna say, come on, I should be hitting. Wow, single hit black. Now this ship actually has a much shorter targeting range, and I can improve that, but it would be at the expense of other possible upgrades. Like I could upgrade the armor. Good drone. I almost feel bad about that. There we go. Now, if you're just tuning in, I would like to point out that the primary purpose of this isn't to show veterans some kind of amazing gameplay. This is actually meant to show people who are interested in the game what the game is about. Now, sometimes it helps to have a relatively recent what's the word I'm thinking of? Gameplay setup. There we go. To give people an idea of what they're going to get into. Because you can talk about how great a game is as much as you like. The reality is, if you don't really get to see it for yourself, you tend to miss it. And this game is not something that I think should be overlooked simply because it's different or it's weird or whatever you want to call it. So I apologize to anybody who is coming in here looking for some, you know, battleship on battleship action. This is the introductory stuff. Am I really not taking any damage from this, guys? See if we can't reduce the total headache count by dropping some of these easier to drop ships. How am I missing? Oh wait, I'm not shooting. Ah! In order to miss, you have to have actually shot, so... Now I have read that setting up for straight head-on shots will actually improve your likelihood of doing serious damage. So I'm going to go ahead and try just absorbing the hits off of this thing, just so I can set up for nice clean shots. Alright, now this, if you equip this, it'll allow you to get a look at what a ship is equipped with, and I believe also what's in the hold. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, it's just for tactical. So it gives you an idea, it tells you what the ship is equipped with as long as you're within range. So if you're within 33 kilometers, you'll get a really good picture. If you're somewhere between 33 and 55, the accuracy starts to fall off, and outside of 55, you're pretty much getting nothing.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
I don't think I can fly. I don't think I can use drones yet. Let's check. Drones. Drone avionics. Drones. Nope, not yet. Actually, had I realized that, then this would have been one of the first things that have been on the list of things to get trained. Alright, so here we are. We're going to turn this in. And immediately we're going to add this implant. The reason we're going to do that is because it improves how fast you learn stuff. So we're going to plug it in. Mission 7 already. Apparently we were given a repairer. And we're going to drop off any unnecessary stuff. And we're going to fit this just to take a look at it. You know why? Because I've actually never used one before. Oh, wait, it's disabled. Well, I should probably remedy that. And that'll go right up front. So the question becomes, can I go into battle without that repair? Yeah, I can. Will I survive? I'm pretty sure I will, so... Yeah, I know. That is a risk I'll have to take. mean, I've got an active thermal damage resistance armor component, so, or I'm sorry, that's shield. Yeah, a shield. No modules detected. Interesting. No worries. Interesting. I wonder if that's a an NPC thing. Now you may notice that I actually actively chose to slow down. And that may seem unusual until you realize that my speed can still prevent me from hitting my target. So it's not just the enemy speed you have to watch out for, it's my own speed as well. I got someone in tight. Now, because I'm going up against an Atron, an Atron has a similar ability as my ship, but I'm out of range. Hold on. think that's it for this one. Yep, that's it. So I turn this, I collect what's there, and run back to dock.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested.
Oh boy.
Docking request accepted.
Hangar. Alright, now we're going to turn it in real quick. The next one. So I'm getting some overdrive injectors. I know, I can't do anything about it for now.
Warp drive active.
Alrighty. Now see, this is where the repairers would come in handy. Yep. I might not be able to actually take this on. I may actually need to warp out. Save the location. Bring it in just a little bit. Through armor. And shots start to go to my hull. Oh, wait, I'm building shield. So that's a plus. That means for as much as I'm missing them, they're not hitting me either. Uh-oh. that one hit. Do an orbit at 75 with booster, or afterburner, I mean. Come on. As long as I don't get hit, I'll keep building shield back up. Alright. There we go. They do a little less damage, but their range is a little further out. So I'm more likely to hit them with what I'm trying to do. Knock my shield back out. See, the problem is I need to get that cargo container. At least I think I do. Right on top of it, quickly grab it and get out of that area. Turn off the gun so we're not wasting ammo. Cutting it close. Alrighty.
Warp drive active.
I won the fight, but that hurt. Alright, we're going to reload this back with antimatter charges, because I have more of them. As you can see, I've taken a few hits. And by a few, I mean, like, the ship is barely working. It's held together with splints and twine.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
So now that we're docked up, we're going to repair the boat. And, alright, Stasis Webifier. So we're going to, let's see. And I'm going to pull you out because I don't need to. And I don't have enough of you to really matter. going to unfit this scanner because we can't really use it right now. And we are going to attach. Put one of these on.
Skill training completed.
All right. Now I can repair my shields a little bit. That'll be a plus. Wasn't I supposed to be granted a web? Oh, guess not. Okay. Let's take a look just to be sure. 3 details. Ah, okay. I just go blow things up. Okay, I can blow things up. Hopefully. I don't know. That last mission kind of made it look questionable, huh? Ah!
Docking permission requested. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
I mean, I guess I could have repaired my armor like that. Oh, wow. I took some pretty big hits, so we're going to just repair them all. And our ship is now back to 100%, and we're going to go pretend we're not going to fail. Alright.
Warp drive active.
Actually, you know what? Too late. This would be the perfect kind of mission for a drone boat, because we're blowing up something that doesn't move and isn't going to fight back once we've taken care of the defenses. So we could always save ammo with drones. And he's at a range, so we'll just target. There we go. Now, we turn our focus on these guys. Now, a lot of people that I've seen actually prefer to do their combat like this. It is entirely a preferential thing. It saves you a little bit of a headache in that your camera's not constantly spinning, but again, it's fully preferential. Now, open fire already. Oh, right, I switched back to the antimatter charges. Whoops. Get a little bit tighter in there so we're actually hitting them and doing some damage. Turn that back off. I didn't even think to turn on my thermal dissipation field. I mean, it wasn't even necessary. I don't think I took a hit on that. And if I did, it was so little that it's already recharged. And now, on to the next section.
Warp drive active.
What you're seeing going on here is my shots are strong enough to simply blast entirely through their ship and knock them out. It's also known as an alpha strike. The idea is that all of your shots just fired at the same time. And because they fire at the same time, it's a bigger immediate burst of damage. So if you're playing a game and someone talks about how they alpha'd someone, that means that they fired all the weapons at the same time and in a single burst demolished their boat. Now, interesting. This would be where I'd be blowing up that. Now we just gotta work through the hull. And that's all I was really worried about here. So that's that. Now we go ahead and dock back up. And then there's one more mission where we will actually utilize the webifier that it was showing us a moment ago. And we have a hole for that.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
And now comes the end of this particular mission string, where we finally go get to blow up that wolf guy.
Docking permission requested. Docking permission requested.
I don't think I can fly the drones yet. I keep thinking to myself, I'll take Tristan because I can at least put drones on it. But in order to do that, I have to get drones up to 3 and then train light drone operation. And that's just not going to happen right now. But I guess I could drop off the industry here. But that's kind of there on purpose, so yeah, I'll just fly the Atron after I dump off the cargo. It's always better to go in fully loaded than not. Come on. That is a next system over.
Drive active.
That's fine. We'll deal with him. He's gonna lose it and lose. Terrible pun, I know. Sorry. Alright. Pink.
Warp drive active.
Now see, this is where this particular mission is where a little range would be a little bit better, because I hate to say it, but this is going to be a little rough. The objective of this mission is to show you things that you might not have normally seen as a beginner. One of those things you're going to run into is the fact that you are going to find yourself. Actually, I'll just turn that off for now. You're going to find yourself dealing with a webifier. So that thing we just put on our ship, we're getting ready to have to go deal with that. Alright, there we go. The music changed. Now the nice thing about the webifier is it forces your enemy ship to slow down, which means that they're easier for you to hit, but not necessarily easier for them to hit you, because they still have to track you at your full speed. I've never been able to figure out what that actually is supposed to be. Who knows? Maybe somebody with a little more experience will know what it is, but I do not. Ha ha ha! It's a good strong hit there. And he's got an armor repairer on him. At least he did. Oh, I must have been going the wrong way. Try this again. This time pointing the ship in the right direction. I should probably just set the default to 5K for now. There we go. That'll take care of that guy. And now we just sit and wait until he blows up. Alrighty. Anybody who's just joined, I'd like to welcome you to stream. Today is just going over the introductory lines for right now the military setup. Tomorrow I will be... Wait a minute. There we go. Tomorrow I will do the advanced. And now, but I learned recently that the orbit is not necessarily the best way to do it, especially against a stationary target, because then you're fighting your own tracking abilities. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a scram, but he's not going to run away. And now, I'm back to full speed. Yay! We'll steal the apparently contraband items. Dock up, and this, unlike the past two nights, will actually complete the whole thing. That's it. All 10 are done. Now, the last two, the business and industry, we actually had to build something to finish it out. But interesting.
Docking request accepted.
But this one is just turn it in. We're done. So we will talk. Oh, wait. I guess we'll help I went to the right place. That's right. I had to go out of system to go blow them up. I forgot.
Warp drive active.
And so now we wait, and we wait, and we wait.
Drive active.
And now we're going to dock up, turn in, and that's pretty much the end of the evening for me. Mostly because I have work in the morning. Yay! And it's already 1 o'clock in the morning, so it's already going to be a rough start. So I believe this will give me a second Tristan.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Oh, excuse me. Alright, let's see. Yep, a second Tristan. Alright. Now, for the curious, this is actually to improve your drone's targeting ability if you're using them. Now, if memory serves, the Tristan serves as the primary drone vessel. Yeah, for frigates in the Galente. So, with proper training, I could fly five small drones and improve my overall damage output based on that. Each vessel has its own benefits, which I discussed before, but since we're talking about drone vessels versus, this is ultimately, I consider this to be a close range fighter, which makes sense when you think about it. It's hybrid turrets, and there's no drone capability. This is the entry-level attack boat. It's meant to be able to survive more combat ability, and this is meant to be used for drones. While it has an improved hybrid turret tracking speed, the benefit really comes from the drones. Trust me, those drones will put out a boatload of damage. The only downside is, as an alpha account, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. You can actually get up to 5 drones. I thought you could only get up to 3 or 4. Now, we're training drones 2 at the moment, but I'll be adding light drone operation here shortly, and by shortly I mean sometime tomorrow, so that way I can actually use the Tristans and fly away I tend to fly for myself. So, with that being said, we're going to leave off here. Tomorrow, like I said, we will pick up with the advanced military, where we already started one of them. Oh, excuse me. And with that, I think it's about time for me to hit the rack. So, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hope everyone gets to enjoy themselves this evening and fly safe. This is the Lone Wolf, signing off. Take care. Have a wonderful evening.